Hi, welcome to Have Roots, Will Travel. Today we are going to be discovering how French is the United States. We're going to be focusing on the state of Wisconsin. As I've done my genealogy research over the years, I have noticed and obviously been impressed by how much the French Canadians made their impact on America and how they left lasting impressions that sometimes Americans don't really know how French is the United States. This series helps, or will help, I hope, to demonstrate there is a little bit of French in these United States. Let's get to know Wisconsin a little bit better. Now, Wisconsin was admitted to the Union May 29, 1848, as the 30th state. The capital is Madison, and its largest city, Milwaukee. The current population of Wisconsin is just under 6 million. Let's give you a little history on this fabulous state. In the early 17th centuries, the very lush wilderness of what is now Wisconsin first saw European eyes when French explorer Jean-Nicolas navigated west from Georgian Bay. Around 1634, he's believed to have landed at Green Bay, then known as Red Banks. This marked the beginning of European exploration in the region. By the mid-17th century, Pierre Radisson and Médard de Groseilliers ventured back to Green Bay and also explored other areas of Wisconsin, engaging in fur trade with the Native Americans. The 1670s brought a notable journey by Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet, who traversed the Fox, Wisconsin waterway, reaching the Mississippi River. Their voyage was documented as the first recorded European passage through the region. Despite the French's keen interest in the fur trade, they did not establish permanent settlements. The French continued to trade in Wisconsin until the British took control in 1763 following the French and Indian War. Under British rule, Wisconsin saw a gradual but definite shift. Green Bay fell under British control in 1761, and by 1763 the British had asserted their dominance over the entire regions. The British, like their French predecessor, focused largely on the fur trade. However, in 1791, a unique development occurred when two free African Americans set up a fur trading post with the Menominee at what is now Marinette. The early settlers of Wisconsin, predominantly French Canadians, along with some Anglo-New Englanders and a few African American freedmen, established roots under British rule. Charles de Langlade, a French trader, was among the first permanent settlers, established a trading post at Green Bay in 1745 and making it his home in 1764. The French name La Baie gradually faded in favor of the British name Green Bay, inspired by the green tints of the waters in spring. Throughout the British control, the fur trade flourished. The British issued fur trading licenses more liberally than the French had, which contributed to a booming trade. During this period, Green Bay became a thriving community, produced its own food, built elegant cottages, and enjoyed social dances and festivities. By the late 18th century, this region not only prospered in fur trading, but also saw the beginnings of self-sustaining agriculture. So you can see how Wisconsin has evolved over, like, before it even became a state. It had this entire history of English and British and Native Americans. So it really is a remarkable example of that early colonization. Let's get to know some of the places where French still has an influence. Now we turn our attention to the village of Alo, which was named after the French Jesuit priest and missionary Father Claude Jean Alo. The Cadell Mission, a mission of the Episcopal Church for the Native Americans, was located in the village in the 19th century. Now the pronunciation is, in Wisconsinian, is Al-Away. Now we're going to look at Fond du Lac, which is how it is pronounced in the language of Wisconsin. In French, it's pronounced fond du lac, which is French for the bottom of the lake, and it's so named because of its location at the bottom or south end of Lake Winnebago. The county began at the inception of the Wisconsin Territory in 1836, and the very first school was founded in 1843 in the town of Fond du Lac, or Fond du Lac. I can't wait to visit Wisconsin. All of you Wisconians, I think it's called, get ready because I'm coming. This probably next summer. That's going to be one of my treks that I'm going to do. Eau claire is obviously means in French clear water. It's a city found in Eau Claire and Chippewa counties, and it's the seat of Eau Claire County. It has a population of just under 70,000, making it the state's 8th most populous city. Now, when I tried to find out how it is pronounced, it's very close, but they really focus on the Eau Claire. So it's Eau Claire instead of Eau Claire. So you can see the subtle difference, but it's pretty much on target. Grands Chutes, which is French for Great Fall or Large Rapids, is a town in Outagamie County, Wisconsin. The population was just under 24,000 at the 2020 census. Now, it is famous for being the birthplace of U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy, who was famous for the McCarthy communist hearings during the 1950s. Now, Grands Chutes is how we pronounce it in French. In Wisconsin, I have heard it said to be Grand Chute. So that is how I heard it when I did my research. Now we come to one of the most pivotal in terms of French history of Wisconsin, the city of Green Bay. It started off with Samuel de Champlain, the founder of New France, commissioning Jean Nicolas to form a peaceful alliance with the Native Americans in the western areas. He wanted to ensure that they could have safe fur trade. Now, Nicolas founded a small trading post here in 1634, originally named it La Baie or La Baie des Puants, which is French for the Bay of Stinking Waters. Nicolas' settlement was one of the oldest European permanent settlements in America. When Nicolas arrived in the Green Bay area, he encountered the Menominee who occupied the territory. A few months after Nicolas returned to Quebec, Champlain died. His death halted other journeys to la Baie Verte, French for the Green Bay. Père Claude Allouet, which we looked at before, sent Nicolas Perrault to la Baie. After this, the French avoided the area for some decades because of the intensity of First Nations and European conflicts. In 1671, a Jesuit mission was set up in the area. A fort was added in 1717, and gradually associated development took place. The town was finally incorporated in 1754. One of the first permanent settlers was Charles de Langlade and his family from Quebec, who moved to Green Bay in 1765. They are considered the first European settlers in present-day state of Wisconsin. Langlade, called the founder and father of Wisconsin, was a métis or a mixed-race son of a French-Canadian father and an Ottawa woman. He grew up with his mother's family among the Ottawa people and became a war chief. The Ottawa were allies of the French during the French and Indian War, and Langlade is credited with planning the ambush of British General George Washington, the British General Braddock, and George Washington. His family was followed to Green Bay by fellow French Canadians, Grignot, Poirier, and Lose, who brought French Canadian culture with them. And so the early ethnic French settlers who set the tone for many who followed, it eventually became called Green Bay, but because once the British took over, but La Baie Verte is its origin. Juno is a city in Dodge County, Wisconsin. The population was just under 2,700 at the 2020 census. It's the county seat of Dodge County. But let's give you a little bit more of why it was called Juno. It was founded in 1845 by settlers Martin Rich and William Dennis. It became the county seat of Dodge County in 1846. The founders originally named this settlement Victory and then Dodge Settler from the German Deutsch Center. But finding these names in conflict with other names, the town changed its name to Juno in 1852. Most sources say that Juno was named after the French-Canadian trader Solomon Juno, the founder of Milwaukee and of Teresa, Wisconsin. The city itself claims to be named for Paul Juno, Solomon Juno's part Menominee son, a businessman and state legislator who made his home in the city and served as a county registrar of deeds until his accidental shooting outside the courthouse in Juno in 1858. Juno was incorporated as a village in 1865 and then a city in 1879. Juno is how we would pronounce it. Juno is how I have heard it pronounced. To La Crosse and La Crosse County. The first Europeans to see the region were French fur traders who traveled the Mississippi River in the late 17th century. There is no written record of any visit to the site until 1805, when Lieutenant Zebulon Pike mounted an expedition up the Mississippi River for the United States. Pike recorded the location's name as Prairie La Crosse. The name originated from the game with sticks that resembles a bishop's croisille or lacrosse in French, which was played by Native Americans there. And that is lacrosse. And lacrosse, I believe, is how they pronounce it in Wisconsin. And now we're at Marinette, which is a city in and the county seat of Marinette County. It's located on the south bank of the Menominee River at its mouth at Green Bay, part of Lake Michigan. To the north, Stevenson Island, part of the city preserved as a park. During the lumbering boom of the late 19th century, this city became the 10th largest city in Wisconsin in 1900, reaching a peak of 16,000. The town and the county were named Marinette after Marie Antoinette Chevalier, who is an influential Métis woman who ran a trading post near the mouth of the Menominee River. She came to be known as Queen Marinette. Her father was Bertrand Chevalier, a British trader of French-Canadian ancestry, who was involved with the early trading post at Green Bay. Her mother was Lucy, the daughter of Menominee chief Wabouchiche. Bertrand Chevalier brought his family, including Marie Antoinette, to Green Bay. There he took on a young trading partner, John Jacobs, whom Marie Antoinette later married. They had 3 children together. In 1823, John and Marie settled in the village that became known as Marinette. Their son, John B. Jacobs, later plotted the town. Chevalier Jacobs' husband disappeared during a trading trip. She later then married his partner, William Farnsworth of the American Fur Company. They also had 3 children. Marie Antoinette Chevalier Farnsworth continued with the trading post after Farnsworth left the area for the next frontier at Sheboygan. She was known for her business sense, her fairness, and her influence. After her death, Chevalier was buried in Alo, Wisconsin. In 1987, her descendants had Chevalier reinterred in Marinette. Her original tombstone is on display at the museum in Marinette. So you can begin to see that they are very, very focused on this connection with the French. And this particular place, I went down a rabbit hole finding out all about this amazing woman. Truly someone to study if this is one of your interests. And now we are at Portage. Portage is a city and the county seat of Columbia County. Its population is just under 11,000. Making it the largest city in Columbia County. Now, why was it called Portage? It was named for the Fox Wisconsin Waterway, which is a portage between the Fox River and the Wisconsin River, which was recognized by Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet during their discovery of a route to the Mississippi River in 1673. The city's slogan is, "Where the North begins." In French, we say Portage. In Wisconsin, they say Portage. Pretty close, very close. But Portage is a river, is a pathway. Now we come to Prairie du Chien, otherwise known in French as Prairie du Chien, which actually means the dog, the prairie dog. It is often called Wisconsin's second oldest city. Prairie du Chien was established as a European settlement by French voyageurs in the late 17th century. It dates to June 17, 1673, making it the fourth colonial settlement by European settlers after Green Bay, Wisconsin, Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and Michigan. Saint Prairie du Chien is near the confluence of the Wisconsin and Mississippi River, a strategic point along this waterway. This location offered early French missionaries and explorers their first access and entrance to the Mississippi River. Early French visitors to the site found it occupied by a group of Fox Indians led by a chief whose name Alim meant chien in French. The French explorers then named the location Prairie du Chien, French for a dog's meadow. Originally, this name applied only to the plain upon which the settlement lay, but it was later applied to the city as well. The city of Prairie du Chien is between the town of Prairie du Chien and the town of Bridgeport. The first known Europeans to reach Prairie du Chien were French explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet. So you can see that it was very, very important at that very beginning, and its significance as a center of the fur trade did not diminish until the mid-19th century, when European demand declined, as did the game stock. So remember, Prairie du Chien is really Prairie du Chien. And that is how, again, one of the places I need to visit. And now we come to Pepin County, otherwise known in French as Pepin County and Pepin Town. And it has about 7,500 people living there, making it a really, really sparsely populated county. And its county seat is Juno. Pepin County is the birthplace of Laura Ingalls Wilder, the author of the Little House on the Prairie books. And you can see that there is a lot of emphasis on Laura Ingalls Wilder. You can begin to look at the history of it. By the mid-17th century, the French had begun to send expeditions into Wisconsin via the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence River. King Louis XIII of France is believed to have granted a huge piece of land in the upper Mississippi River Valley to two brothers, Etienne Pepin de la Font and Guillaume de Tranche-Montagne. Two of Guillaume's sons, Pierre Pepin and Jean Pepin du Cartonnat, later explored and traded in this area, and their surname became attached to the lake and ultimately to the village and the county. And that is how. Now we come to Racine, which in French is known as racine, which is the French word for roots. In November of 1674, while traveling from Green Bay to the territory of the Illinois Confederation, Father Jacques Marquette and his assistants camped at the mouth of what would be the Root River or the Racine River. These were the first Europeans known to visit what would become known as the county of Racine. Further expeditions were made in 1679 and 1698, and nearly a century later, in 1791, a trading post would be established along Lake Michigan, near where the Racine River empties into it. And that is how Racine became known as Racine. Now, in my research into this, it actually was called Port Gilbert or different names, but the people of Racine or Racine really wanted to stick to that original name, because that is kind of a claim to fame that they were there, So I think that's part of what makes Wisconsin so special. They really cling to whatever history they have. They are very, very, that's what I kind of got in my research about Wisconsin. And now we turn to Radisson, or Radisson, which is a village in Sawyer County, Wisconsin. The population was only about 273 in 2020. And it is located within the town of Radisson and was named in honor of the early French explorer Pierre Esprit Radisson, who made his way to this area so very, very early. So now we come to Trolo County, river and village. French fur traders were the first Europeans to enter this land, traveling by river across the country. At the mouth of the Trempealeau River is the confluence with the Mississippi River, and they found a bluff surrounded by water and called it La Montagne qui trempe à l'eau, the mountain steeped in water. It is now known as Trempealeau Mountain. The name was later shortened to Trempealeau, and it was created in 1854 and organized in 1855. The county, of course, is named after the river. We would say in French, Trempealeau. Trempealeau. They say Trempealeau. So it's very, very close. This is how French America can be. You can see the roots of it, particularly in Wisconsin. Truly, truly fascinating. And again, as I stated in the video, it's among my top places I want to see, probably in the top 3 states I want to visit. So I'm planning a trip next summer to Wisconsin, and we'll most likely be filming some of those very French Canadian spots. So thank you for watching. Please, any questions or comments, please post in the notes below. I really appreciate any and all feedback. And I will see you on the next video of how French is the United States. Until then, au revoir.